Hello, I'm Ollie, and this is Criminolly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, all of that, and some posh books too. It's another book haul. So I keep on saying that I'm going to stop doing book hauls, and then I keep on getting books. So here's another one. I do definitely need to slow down after this, and I also need to come up with some way of like tempering myself that isn't as strict as the 100 book challenge, but has a similar effect. So I've got a couple of ideas of things I might try. Anyway. So I'm filming this on Saturday. It is my birthday today. I've received a ton of lovely books for my birthday. And I've also got some other books that I've picked up. So a few from the library and a few that I've ordered for different reading events and things like that. So and a couple that were a very, very kind gift from a subscriber. So I'm just going to go through them all. I'll probably do the library ones first. So let me show you what I've got there. So popped out to the library ones. iPad's falling over. Right, popped out to the library the other day and picked up a few things that interested me. So I actually went to pick up the Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi, which I'm not going to bother showing here because I've already read it and it's in my April wrap up. But I picked up a few other things as well. So I picked up Bomber by Len Deighton, just because they had it in. I've always meant to read this book, so it's supposed to be excellent, and it's about the bombing raids by the RAF on German cities during the Second World War, and shows you that the impact of those things, both from the perspective of the plane crews and also the civilians who lived in those cities. So it's supposed to be an excellent book. I do not know when I'm going to get to read this, but I can renew it a few times if I don't get to it. So I thought I would grab it as they had it. Then I also got for June on the Range. They had a couple of westerns, so I thought I've got to pick these up because they are like contemporary westerns. They're modern westerns. What am I trying to say? They're set during the Wild West era, but they were written in the after 2000, whereas most of the other stuff I've got is kind of either 70s or more vintage than that even. So I thought it'd be interesting to read at least one quite modern western. So I got Return to Red River by Johnny D. Boggs, which looks quite fun. Apparently Boggs is among the best western writers at work today. I don't think there are that many western writers at work today, are there? So it's probably not a very big pool to be one of the best of, but nevertheless this looks quite good. And then this one which looks fantastic. So A, it's got a fantastic title, which is Widowmaker Jones, and B, it's by Brett Cogburn, who apparently is the great-grandson of the real Rooster Cogburn. Is it Cogburn or Cogburn? I'm never sure. Anyway, Rooster Cogburn or Cogburn obviously was played by John Wayne in the movie, so he's definitely cool. So having a relationship, the author, having a relationship with him, I think is pretty fantastic. So of the two, I think this is the one I'm more likely to read. Whether it's any good or not, or if he's just, cashing in on his famous Western connection, we will find out. But yeah, it looks quite fun anyway. Right, then, similarly, for events, I also picked up this Off-Season by Jack Ketchum. So I do have a copy of Off-Season already, which I've shown on the channel, which was very kindly sent to me by Juan at Plagued by Visions. But that copy is the, I can't remember if it's Bantam or Ballantine edition, which is the first edition, but which is less complete than this Leisure edition. So it was later republished by Leisure in a more violent version, basically. So naturally, that's the version I want to read. So I love that battered old paperback that Juan sent me. It's an absolutely beautiful thing. But I thought I'd pick this up as well, and I managed to find it quite cheap. So looking forward to reading that one too. Right, other event stuff. So I've got a couple of things for Gacha August. Actually, quite a few things for Gacha August. So let me go through those. Oh, actually, sorry, there's another one for June on the Range. So I got these two Richard Matheson books, the Journal of the Gun Years and The Gunfight, which come very highly recommended by Michael K. Vaughan, who knows his onions. So I'm sure these will be good. Is it know your onions or know your apples? I don't know. Anyway, he knows his stuff when it comes to good books. So this looks great, and it's a really weird size as well, isn't it? Look, it's like skinny. It's a weird ratio. skinny and tall, a bit like me. So it looks really good anyway. So this I will definitely read Journal of the Gun Years during June on the Range, and I may read The Gunfight as well. Let's put that behind me. Right, so for Garb August, I've got a bunch of stuff. I need to stop buying books for Garb August because I'm not going to have time to read them all. So I picked up this Zcom Swastika by, who's it by? Kyle Manning, who is also the guy apparently who wrote the Phoenix books, which I've talked about on the channel before. He published those as David Alexander, but apparently he's also Kyle Manning or Manning. So this is about a kind of elite. I'll tell you what. I'll read you the back. American Nazis had spread across the nation like maggots on a corpse. They were vermin who had escaped the traps and poison of government exterminators. Rabidly determined and ruthlessly efficient, they were invulnerable to frontal assault. They had to be destroyed from within, reamed out like a sewer. Only one outfit in the world would dare infiltrate such a fanatical group, Z Commando, the face-stomping, gut-busting bastards known as Zcom. I mean, you can't read that, haven't you? I looked, there were like, I think at least 6 books in this series. I think this is book 3. This was the only one I could find, reasonably cheap. The other ones are really quite expensive. But look, it's got a step-back cover. Unfortunately, the art behind that step-back is quite crap. I mean, it's okay, but it's certainly not brilliant. But yeah, I mean, if they're a face-stomping, gut-busting bunch of bastards, then I'm in. I want to read it. Completely different. So also got another VC Andrews book, or Virginia Andrews book, My Sweet Audrina, which I think was her first standalone. So I might read this for Garb August. So this is another one from the library. I might read it for Garb August, or I might read it during, not during, but Kelly from Hooked on Books is doing a series of like read-alongs on Instagram of VC Andrews books, and this is one they are doing soon, so I grabbed it to take part in that. Right, so now getting into more Garb August stuff. So I talked about this on the channel a while ago because in a previous haul I showed the first 2 books in the Zant series by Piers Anthony, which I picked up, and this is the one I want to read for Garb August because it's called The Colour of Her Panties, which is just the trashiest title ever. And you can see there's a couple of young ladies at the bottom there with different coloured panties on. So yeah, I just, the mind boggles that he thought it was okay to publish a book with this title and the publishers agreed. I mean, just, it was a different time. When did this come out? I don't know if it's 80s or 90s, but yeah, it was a different time. 1992. Right, a classic trash book next. So I came across a bunch of books the other day in a bookshop by this author. And this was the shortest one, so it was the one I bought. I have read one book by her before, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So it is The Stud by Jackie Collins. So let me read you the back of this because it's going to be good. At a club like Hobo, there's no such thing as an impossible fantasy. Come to the night spot where beautiful people hang out and meet. Tony Blake, your host and guide, and anything else you want him to be. Fontaine Khaled, jet-setting beauty. Her face is her fortune and men are her weakness. Alexandra, her nubile stepdaughter, determined to sample everything the big city has to offer. Like no book before or after, the stud gets to grip with the debauched and decadent lifestyles of society's high flyers. You won't believe your eyes. Now, that sounds good, doesn't it? That's a definite for Garb August. Then another book, actually I think, I can't remember if I mentioned this on the channel. Oh, I did. I mentioned it in my video about lying publishers. Go Ask Alice by Anonymous, although of course it wasn't really by Anonymous. It was by, I wonder if she's got a credit in here at all. No, they have completely tried to obscure the origin of the name of the author. So it was actually written by a psychiatrist, pieced together, I think, from various recollections that young people she treated had given her, but published back in, when was it published? Back in the 60s, 70s? Early 70s, 1971. So published in the early 70s as a true account, a true diary of a teenage runaway, and still published today as the true account of a teenage runaway, even though it's been an open secret, or openly known for years that it's not at all true. So yeah, definitely trashy. And then this. Now this looks so good. The cover of this is phenomenal, and the concept behind this is phenomenal as well. So this is Naked Came a Stranger by Penelope Ash, although once again it's not actually by Penelope Ash. So this is a book that was written by a bunch of critics, I think in response in particular to the Jacqueline Suzanne book Valley of the Dolls, who decided that that American literature was just going down the toilet basically, and that any book, as long as it had enough sex in it, would sell well. So they worked together to write this book, and it did indeed become a bestseller. So yeah, it was a book that was deliberately designed to be as trashy as possible, and it just looks great. I can't wait to read that. Right, so that's the books for events out of the way. So a few other things that I've picked up. So this one, I read this when I was a kid. So this is The Wave by Rhue, and I'll be interested to see if anyone else has read this. So yeah, I read this as a kid, and someone mentioned it in an Instagram post, and it brought back a very vivid memory of it and really made me want to read it again. So it's about a high school class who engage in an experiment where they're trying to kind of, their teacher gets them to start acting like Nazis basically in order to understand the rise of Nazism, and it just gets completely out of control. I remember being a really impactful book when I read it as a kid, so yeah, looking forward to reading that again. Also got The Totem by David Morrell, so I've been meaning to pick up a copy of this for ages, and I think I was buying something else and I could get another book cheap or reduced, so I picked this up. So a horror novel by David Morrell, obviously best known for creating the character of Rambo, but supposed to be excellent, one of his early books. This again, a book I've been meaning to reread for ages, and again I think I was able to get it cheap in a deal. Relics by Shaun Hutson, so one of his early incredibly violent horror novels, great cover, and I remember this one being particularly enjoyable and nasty, and having, I think, a really good ending. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Next, so I mentioned in one of my videos that I was really enjoying this book of short stories. This one, The Locked Room Mysteries, that I'm reading, and this was recommended by Michael Romeo Talks Books as another really good collection. So again, edited by Otto Penzler, but also James Elroy. So the best American noir of the century. So a bunch of stories. Does it say on the back how many there are? Doesn't say. But yeah, a bunch of stories from the 20s onwards through to 2007. Yeah, there's about 30 stories by the looks of it, from authors like David Goodis, Mickey Spillane, Dorothy B. Hughes, James M. Cain, David Morrell, who I've just mentioned, Patricia Highsmith. So some really fantastic authors, and this looks like a great collection to dip into. So that's all the stuff I've bought myself. So actually, I've not done too badly. I haven't bought that many things. But then we get into the gifts. So firstly, let's do the ones from the subscriber. So these are from Peter, whose channel, he's got a music channel called Sounds from the West Coast. So he is a regular commenter on my videos and contacted me the other day to say he wanted to send me something, which is super kind of him. So I really appreciate this, Peter. So two things. So firstly, Midnight Sun by Ramsey Campbell. So these are both books that Peter had duplicates of. So wanted to send me his spare copies, which was really lovely of him. So this is Ramsey Campbell, if you don't know him, is a British horror author who started in the 70s and is still going. I haven't read this one. I've read a number of books by him, both from his kind of his older stuff and some of his more recent books, and he's fantastic. So really looking forward to reading this. And then also House of Leaves, which obviously I read very recently. But my copy was a library copy, which Peter spotted, and he was looking to. He's just bought himself a hardback copy because this is one of his favourite books. So very kindly sent me his paperback. So this is a fantastic book, which is a book I will definitely read again at some point because it was just so weird and there was so much to take in. I will 100% read this copy at some point. So thank you very much, Peter. I really appreciate that. Right, so moving on to birthday gifts. So I've got a number of things to go through here, which will come from kind of friends and family. So let me go through them and talk you through them. You will see that one particular imprint is particularly well represented here, which is the Library of America. So having got a couple of Library of America books recently, I've been really impressed with the quality of them. They are dead posh, and I've decided that I wanted to add a few more to my collection. So I had asked for a few from various people. So first up, so a collection of John Steinbeck novels and short stories. Or indeed they may all be novels actually. So some of his later works from 1947 to 1962. So it includes The Wayward Bus, Burning Bright, Sweet Thursday, The Winter of Our Discontent, and Travels with Charley in Search of America. So Cannery Row, which I think Sweet Thursday is the sequel to Cannery Row. Cannery Row I read last year and really, really enjoyed. And I've got some other Steinbeck on my Kindle, which I need to read. So I've read Of Mice and Men. I think that's it. I think that's all the Steinbeck I've read. So looking forward to getting into that. I was reminded by, Fraser at Springboard Thought did a fantastic review the other day of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick, which reminded me that I need to reread that book. So I got this nice collection of 4 novels of his from the 1960s. Nice picture of Philip K. Dick on the cover there with his cat. So this has got, I've read 2 of these, definitely. So I've definitely read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and I've definitely read Ubik, albeit both of them I haven't read for years. The Man in the High Castle and The 3 Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch, which are the other 2 in here. I'm fairly sure I owned copies of those as a teenager, but I'm also fairly sure I never got around to reading them. So I will enjoy digging into that collection. Then also got this one, which looks fantastic. And this is actually the first Library of America book I ever wanted. I remember looking a while ago, a few years ago, for female crime authors and coming across this collection and deciding at the time it was too expensive to buy. So really, really appreciate this. So this is 4 suspense novels from the 1950s. So it has got The Blunderer by Patricia Highsmith, Mischief by Shaun Armstrong, Fool's Gold by Dolores Hitchens, and Beast in View by Margaret Miller. Margaret Miller in particular I've been meaning to read for years because she's supposed to be fantastic. So yeah, this looks very good indeed. Then I got 2 lovely, lovely collections. So I got the Raymond Chandler collection, which has got... So the first volume is Stories and Early Novels, so it's got about a dozen of his pulp stories in here, and then the first 3 Philip Marlowe novels, so The Big Sleep, Farewell My Lovely, and The High Window. So The Big Sleep is the only one of those that I've read. And then this edition is later novels and other writings, so it's got The Lady in the Lake, The Little Sister, The Long Goodbye, Playback, Double Indemnity, and which is the screenplay for the movie. And I've also got somewhere, it's back there somewhere, I think, I've got the James M. Cain novel. So I will read the novel first and then the screenplay, and then selected essays and letters. So this looks fantastic as well. Let's put those back in the slipcase. So yeah, really looking forward to getting into some real classic crime with that. And then they also bought me, and I've read this as an author I've mentioned on the channel a number of times, including in my top 30 horror novels. They bought me the Shirley Jackson collection. So this has got novels and stories. So it's got The Lottery, Haunting of Hill House, We've Always Lived in the Castle, and other stories and sketches. So I've read Haunting of Hill House and We've Always Lived in the Castle, but really want to reread them. I've read The Lottery, and I've read many of her short stories, but not all of them. But they're so good, I'm very keen to reread them. And then this one has got 4 novels of hers that I haven't read. So The Road Through the Wall, Hangs a Man, The Bird's Nest, and The Sundial. So very much looking forward to those. So that's all the Library of America ones gone through. And then also got from my sister. So my sister gave me the Philip K. Dick one, and then also sent me these as well. Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Bazterrica. I'm probably completely garbled her surname. But yeah, I really, really want to read this. So a book about cannibalism, which is supposed to be incredibly disturbing, but very insightful and, interesting as well. I have The Shitstorm by Jackson Ford. So if you've not read these series and you like just pure silly adventure type books, you have to read these. They're fantastic. So this is the third in the series. So the first one is The Girl Who Can Move Shit With Her Mind. The second one is Random Shit Flying Through the Air. This is the third one. And then the fourth one, which I forget the title of now, is due out in a couple of weeks. They're just like I hate when people say this, because I think it in some ways it does books down, but it fits these books perfectly. They are like reading a movie. So they're about this girl, Tegan, I think her name's Tegan, yeah, Tegan Frost, who can move stuff with her mind. She's telekinetic, who gets recruited by the secret government agency to work with them to go up against like criminals and things like that. They're just such good fun. So the first one is kind of like the origin story. The second one is like a disaster novel, so it's like there's an earthquake and it's about what happens during that. It's just brilliant. Jackson Ford is so much fun. So I'm really looking forward to reading this, the third in the series. And then also got from my sis this lovely clothbound edition of Dracula. So I need to reread Dracula. It's been years since I read it. So there's this really nice penguin clothbound edition, which is just smashing. Which is, I think it's even got, oh no, it hasn't got illustration. It's got a nice illustration at the front there, and you can tell it's posh because it's got a little ribbon. So yes, really looking forward to that. So yes, another book haul from me. Some absolutely lovely posh books and some fantastic other books as well. Thank you again, Peter, for what you sent me. So yeah, really looking forward to diving into all of these in various events and things like that. Let me know. Let me know, as always, if you've read any of these. I'm sure there are many people out there who've read at least some of them, particularly probably the Library of America stuff. Let me know what you thought of them. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well, and I will speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.